A Bucking Spurs podcast is brought to you by Eavesdrop Studios Podcast Network. You can find a podcast there for you if it's sports, movies, gaming, whatever you're into at eavesdropstudios.com, where eavesdropping is okay, as long as you tell everybody what you heard. It's full-on Manu Mania. Manu Manic, Obi-Wan Ginobili, a Manu Trace, the Argentinian Stallion, an OG lefty. Whoa, mama. Manu, how do you do the things that you do, that voodoo that you do so well? Ginobili. It's an end of an era, a special Bucking Spurs podcast reflecting on the career, the impact of Emmanuel Ginobili. But first, Sire Nova, drop it like it's hot.
Ginobili! Special guest.
That's it, Ginobili! What was I screaming in the green room tonight, Kenny? And you made fun of me last week.
I'm hungry.
Ginobili! My new Ginobili! Ginobili! Ginobili!
He's moving up my list, and that's AK-47. That's Kurlenko, because we just saw.
Oh, Ginobili!
Well, I'm gonna tell you, he's number 7 right now.
Oh my God! Ginobili! Ginobili!
Start to finish.
Every round gets tougher. Penetrate hard. Good passes. Shoot with confidence. I want some nasty.
You know, the feeling around the world, I think, when it comes to Manu Ginobili and Spurs fans all over the place, when the news dropped that Ginobili has decided to hang up the shoes, he's not going to be playing basketball anymore. That hurts. That hurts. If you're a basketball fan in general, that hurts. I mean, there's a reason why last season, when we got bounced by the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, you know, everyone was giving him a standing ovation because we thought it was over last year. And you had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, the whole Warriors staff. You know, everyone was just showing him so much love. And that's because we know that they don't make him like him anymore. Ginobili showed us what was good about team basketball. He showed us the best parts of being selfless. Unselfish. He played every single second with passion. He played with competitive ferocity. It was greatness for 16 years. Every time he checked in that first quarter coming off the bench, every single game he received, he received a standing ovation from the crowd. The crowd would erupt with love, appreciation, and a feeling of a familiar certainty that you are about to watch something special happen. You're just waiting for it. Every time he's on the floor, you're waiting to see something spectacular. If it was a pass, a shot, a dribbled fake right Euro step to the left, everything dunk on whatever, or finger roll layup from the freaking free throw line, you were always in for something special. And I think that everybody in the AT&T Center in San Antonio felt that every single time he checked in the game. Coming in, number 20, Manu Ginobili. Crowd would go crazy. He played the highest level of basketball for 16 years. He did not take a play off, I don't think, in his 16 years. Not one. On the offensive side or the defensive side of the basketball, a guy who just competes. Why? Because it's a built-in passion. He didn't do it for the money. He didn't do it for the fame. He did it because he loved a game. He loved the game of basketball. He comes from Argentina, Buenos Aires. I've done multiple high school projects over there. about that place just because Ginobili was from there, and I was just fascinated with Argentina. It was the birthplace of my favorite player. And I'm not gonna lie, I grew up and many people told me that I looked just like him, and they would call me Ginobili. Shoot, I wish I played like him, and for Lord knows I tried, but there was something about the way he played. He was always on the floor when you needed him to be. He came off the bench for more than, I think, 60% of his career, but it didn't matter that he came off the bench. He was going to close games. He was going to have the ball in his hands when the game was on the line. From the moment that he put on that Spurs jersey, it did not matter that he came off the bench. Everyone had the same feeling that we want that ball in his hands. At the end of the game, in crunch time for the last shot to make the final decision of the game, running down the shot clock, and we're going to do a high pick and roll with Manu, and that he's going to make the right play. If that's coming off that screen, finishing at the basket, he wasn't going to miss that layup. If he was coming off the screen to set up Timmy or whoever the roll man was, and he was going to get them that ball if they're open. Or if he's spotting up in the corner and we have Tony Parker coming off the high pick and roll and the ball gets kicked out to him, we weren't nervous. Clock running down, final shot of the game, he catches the ball, puts up that last shot. You had that feeling that it was going in. He was so clutch. Final possession, you don't want the ball in anyone else's hands. That includes Tony Parker. I love Tony Parker. But at the end of games, Tony Parker was sitting over there in the corner and Manu had the ball up top. He showed greatness every single game. His leadership is transcendent. So many players have learned so much from him about being competitive, how to be a professional basketball player on and off the court. I loved it when I would see him just ripping Danny Green or ripping DeJuan Blair or Tiago Splitter, Gary Neal, whoever it was. He would hold them all accountable. And it would be after they do something good. It's like, okay, they would go back on defense and maybe someone had a late rotation and we got scored on. And then they come back down and let's just use Danny Green, for example. Danny Green would get the ball and he would get fouled and one three-pointer. It didn't matter. He was going to get in Danny's face about that defensive mistake that he made on the other side of the floor. I mean, he just pays that much attention to detail. I love this guy. San Antonio loves Manu Ginobili. When you rank the top Spurs in history amongst the Spurs players of just pure fandom, it's the list is goes like this. It's Tim Duncan number 1, Manu number 2. Why? Because he's probably the best Hispanic player to ever play in the NBA. The stats prove it. The championships prove it. He's great. And then you have David Robinson, Tony Parker, and George Gerving down the list. But Manu's Manu. Manu set the place on fire every night. Let's take a trip down memory lane, and I kind of want to talk about some of my favorite Manu moments over the past 16 years. And Lord knows that there are hundreds of Manu moments. I mean, literally, you got 16 years of highlights of really, really good seasons where he had all-star seasons. He had 6 Man of the Year seasons. But I'm going to talk just about moments throughout his career that meant a lot to me and probably to you too. But the first one right off the bat is a personal one. At the 2005 parade, fresh off the championship from Detroit, here comes Manu with that championship trophy, that long hair blowing in the wind down the Riverwalk. Looking fabulous, by the way. That Manu with the long hair was a warrior. Oh man, that's the favorite hairstyle of Manu over the years, hands down for me. Well, he's floating down the Riverwalk, and the place is jam packed. The place is going crazy. We just saw Manu, tear up the finals, and he looks at me. I'm standing above, like, on this rock. I climb this rock to get a better view, and I just point at him. I'm like, Manu, yes. I point at him. He looks right at me and points at me right back, gives me a thumbs up and a couple of fist pumps, like, yeah, we did it. And I almost got weak in the knees and just fell off that rock, because that was a special moment. It's like, hey, we locked eyes just for a second. And for a moment there, I was like, he probably thinks I'm like one of his bastard sons that, he just has floating around out there. Like, that kid looks a little bit like me. I'm not going to lie. I think it was the nose. I have this really big, long nose, just like our boy Manu. And honestly, Manu made me love my nose. I was like, Manu's a badass motherfucker. And if he can rock the nose, so can I. And I love him for that. I love this guy. So there was that. Ever since then, I was like, man, Manu's just my guy. That's my guy. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of rapid fire through some of these top moments of mine in no particular order. Let's start off with, as I was just talking about, the 2005 playoffs. He dominated the Detroit Pistons in 2005. Nobody can guard him. Tayshaun Prince couldn't guard him. Rip Hamilton could have guarded him. You put Chauncey Billups on him. No way. Too small. He should have been the MVP of the 2005 finals. That I will say to the day I die. If Tony Parker won the MVP in 07, Manu should have won it in 05. He was on a tear, unstoppable. Some of the best plays. Okay, do you think about that open shot by Big Shot Rob when they double teamed who? Manu. Manu catches that ball off the inbounds. Here comes the double team. Who do we have wide open in the corner? Manu saw him. Manu is so unselfish and just makes the right play every time. Oh, highlights. Google or YouTube 2005 NBA Finals and watch Manu do work. All right. The next moment that I loved, when Manu catches a bat out of thin air. Come on. You have a guy that plays professional basketball who's on the court playing, and there's this menace flying through the rafters, flying around the court. I mean, the bat was flying in the AT&T Center. That place is huge. And out of all the ways to catch that bat, Manu's like, I got it. You know what? This motherfucker's, putting some salt right now in my game. So let me just whack. He just goes ahead and just smacks him out of thin air. I mean, the hand-eye coordination to do something like that. Jesus Christ. That's just amazing. This guy's superhuman. That's awesome. He did have to go and get a rabies shot and whatnot after that, but isn't that just our homeboy Emmanuel down the street who will do something crazy like that? And then he came out and probably dropped like 15 points after that. Just amazing. All right, next, the HEB commercials. You cannot tell me that those HEB commercials would have been funny at all without Manu. Manu was hilarious. I loved it when he was this like Zen master sitting in the garden, or when he was on that really nice upholstered leather chair with Tony Parker and they're going over ice cream or whatever it is. Whatever the commercial was, Manu was the star. Hands down. Next one. The 2003 playoffs. This was Manu's rookie year coming out party. And a lot of people did not know what exactly we had in Manu at that time. But he came up clutch many times throughout the postseason, particularly against Seattle in the Western Conference. A young Ray Allen. That team was tough, but Manu made huge plays down the stretch. And obviously in the NBA Finals against the New Jersey Nets, That boy was just a problem. That boy was a problem. And he helped the Spurs go ahead and catch that championship in 03 and eventually 4 total. All right. And that's my next moment, is that this guy is a 4-time champion. He's a 4-time champion. I mean, come on. Coming off the bench, same team, never had to switch roles, never had to leave San Antonio. He never left. Can he have started on other teams? Absolutely. Can he have been the scoring champ in the league if he had a whole team to carry on his back? Yeah, probably in his heyday. But a 4-time champ is just amazing. Next moment, the block shot on James Harden. Okay, now this is grandpa juice in its finest. So 2 years ago in the playoffs, I think it was game 2 or game 3. Harden catches the shot, gives Manu a little fake, and Manu gets taken by that fake, and he gets beat. So now Manu's playing from behind James Harden. James Harden thinks, I'm the new lefty in town now. This is my Euro step. Pulls up for a 3 for a possible game winner. Manu sneaks up right behind him. He's like, bro, I've caught bats in midair. Give me that ball. Get that shit out of here. And then James Harden flares his arms out, tries to maybe draw a foul, but clean as a whistle. One of the best shot blocks of Ginobili's career. And he's had many pretty nasty rejections. One that comes to mind is KD back when he was young with the OKC Thunder. He's coming down the lane and he's like, I'm just going to smash this thing. He thinks he's all alone. And then whoo, here comes Manu off the right wing and just meets him at the rim and says, get that shit out of here. But the block shot on Harden, balling up at he was probably 39 at the time, who just shut down a possible MVP candidate. Tell me anyone else who can do that. Tell me anyone else who has that longevity in their career that can play at that level against competition like James Harden, Steph Curry, and dominate and make plays like that. That just goes again to show you he was on the floor at 39 in the final play of the game. Huge play, and makes the huge play. Next play, the dunk on Ray Allen and Chris Bosh in 2014. In game 5 of the championship of the finals where we won the ship. He comes off the right wing, gives a nice little crossover to Ray Allen. Now he has Ray Allen on his side. He takes one dribble down the lane, purposely takes a step into Ray Allen's chest, sends Ray Allen flying to the sideline, rises up and just smashes it on Chris Bosh. Dirty. The whole place goes wild. Guys, when Manu dunks. You better get out of his way, because you ain't going to get that. I honestly, and I'm not just saying this because this is a tribute episode, but I don't know how many times I've seen him get blocked at the rim. Not many. It's that lefty, that crafty left-handed Euro style that people just aren't used to seeing. Next moment, the clutch shot against the Warriors in the 2013 playoffs. This was before the Warriors became the Warriors. The year that we lost to Miami in the finals, we had to get through a really tough Golden State team. That was the last year with Coach Jackson and the Golden State Warriors. And I forget what game it was, but final seconds of the game, they throw a long inbound pass to Manu off one sideline, pretty much to the other sideline. Manu catches it at the 3 and just lets it fly. That thing goes slow motion in the air for like 5 seconds, it seems like. That thing touches the rafters, comes down, and bang! That thing goes down. We send a young Golden State team home. They went to grad school, as they say, in that series. And after that, they graduated and became the Golden State Warriors. But that was an amazing clutch shot. The gold medal. Ginobili's gold medal run in 2004. The last second running left-handed floater, kiss off the glass as time expires to send him into the championship round to beat the USA. Young LeBron, young Melo. Sean Marion. That whole gold medal run was special. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Ginobili Olympics buzzer beater, and you're going to see something amazing. Next moment. People forget the Euro step wasn't even in the NBA until Manu brought it in. Manu crafted that Euro step. He's like, oh, I'm going to set you up right. Even if it means twerking my body in some way awkward position, I'm going to set you up right, and I'm going to go ahead and finish left. That Euro step wasn't invented until Ginobili brought it to the NBA. Then you saw people run with it, like Dwayne Wade, James Harden. I actually remember James Harden being a young James Harden, sophomore year, I think. And I mean, he's a left-handed player, but I just saw so much of Ginobili in his game. I knew he was going to be special. I was like, this guy's good. This guy's like an athletic, a super ultra athletic Manu Ginobili. He can shoot, he can drive left, he can finish. This guy can play. But the Euro step, thank you, Manu. Thank you for that. You made the game just so much better than it was. Next moment, the time that he scored 24 straight points against the Atlanta Hawks. Yes, no. I'm not mistaken here. You heard me correct. He scored 24 straight points in the first quarter against the Atlanta Hawks. I believe it was back in 04, 05. It was one of those years. He outscored the Atlanta Hawks in the first quarter. He had 24 straight buckets. I mean, that was like Pop's just give him the ball. Just give him the ball and get out of his way. And he rarely does that, but that was just one of those nights where the Atlanta Hawks they were just like, what the hell is going on here? We have 22 points as a team, and Manu has 24 straight. Oh my God! Give me 5 other players that have done that. Okay, give me 5 other shooting guards who have done that. I doubt that you'll be able to give me that list, but if you can, I'd love to hear it. Next moment, I love the long hair. That 05 championship run, I put it all on the dew. Manu just had a different persona. He was a rock star. Long flowing hair flowing in the wind. With the bald spot. Let's not forget, that bald spot was there. It was just hiding under a bunch of hair. That's one of my favorite looks. Manu and the nutmeg pass. If you soccer fans, that means that that's when you pass the ball between the defender's legs and the ball ends up perfect right in the pick and roll guy's hands. I mean, Manu's just look at Manu's top assist and you're going to see some amazing passes that should have never gotten there. But he threaded the needle between other players' legs like no other NBA player that I've ever seen. Next, I just like how Manu made countless big men better. All they had to do was roll hard to the rim, and he was going to get them that ball. I think of players like Rasha Nesterovic, Dwan Blair, Tiago Splitter, an older Antonio McDyess. He would just camp out on the high post, and Manu would just pick and roll and get him that rock, and he was still buckets from there. Manu knew exactly how to pick and roll, and he made countless and countless big men's career by being able to get him that ball, sometimes with a nutmeg pass. He is overall, guys, just one of the best athletes of all time, and nobody is going to agree with me. Nobody thinks of him being as this ultra athletic guy, but let me tell you, he was. He played 16 seasons in the NBA, which is a very long career. He did that without any major injuries. He did miss games here and there, sometimes due to ankle injuries where he had to be out a month, sometimes 2 months, but never had a major injury. He's played with twisted ankles. He's played with a broken arm. That just shows you how competitive my guy is. Let's go over Manu Ginobili's all-time Spurs stats. Okay, we know that he's been an all-star. He's won the Sixth Man of the Year. He's come off the bench which seems like 100% of the time, but realistically, I think it's about 70% of the time. And he achieved what other players wish they could have achieved in their tenure in the NBA. What he did coming off the bench, most players can't even do starting their whole career. So let's talk about what we have here. In the San Antonio Spurs franchise, he is third in games played. I'm pretty sure I know who those first two other players are. He's fifth in points, fifth in rebounds, fourth in assists, first in steals, first in three-pointers made, and fourth in free throws. In all these statistics, he is no less than top 5, holding 2 all-time Spurs records in steals and three-pointers. The intangibles, man. That's what Ginobili did. Maybe some all-stars can get you top 3, top 4 in franchise history in 1 or 2 of these things. I mean, come on. Manu is one of the all-time Spurs, one of the all-time best shooting guards in NBA history. I've given this list before. No one will ever convince me otherwise. My shooting guard all-time list is Michael Jordan, number 1, Kobe, number 2, Manu, number 3. There was no one who I trust that is better than Manu at the shooting guard position than those two guys. Kobe, I would even say that Manu can hold his own with Kobe Bryant, but I give Kobe the benefit of the doubt because he had to carry the team for so many years, his whole career almost. But he did have Shaq and other good players around him, but he led the Lakers, where Manu led the Spurs, but in a team basketball capacity where he had Tim Duncan, he had Tony Parker, but there is no one better than Manu Ginobili. So I end you with this in this Manu Ginobili Spurs tribute episode. My guy, Manu Ginobili, you've given us some of the best basketball we've ever seen. You've shown us what it means to be a Spur on and off the court. You've set the standard for how to compete. When you see young players slacking off, we're not going to tolerate it here. And that's all because of you. You've given us so much. We're not sad that he's gone. We're happy that we got to watch greatness for 16 years. And he's earned the time. He's earned the opportunity to retire, hang it up, spend time with his beautiful family. And maybe we'll see a couple young Ginobilis come out in the NBA in the future. He does have 3 boys. And he loves San Antonio. UTSA needs some good players, I'm just saying. Much love. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, A Bucking Spurs Podcast, at eavesdropstudios.com. Shout out to Sirenova Music for all the dope beats that you hear on this pod. And check out Eavesdrop Studios for all the other pods coming your way. Now, as always, go Spurs. Go. Manu, we love you. Adios, amigo.
Ginobili!
By a special guest.
That's it, Ginobili!
That's right.